Good morning, and how is everybody doing? We are on week 5, and we're going to have a good day today. One of the things that I'd like to talk about where we are on week 5 is we're at the point right now where the small changes that we do are going to start making a difference in our life. And when I talk about change, I'm talking about the small changes that we do a little bit at a time that is going to enhance our future. And what I mean by that is when you're, hi, welcome in, Nastiness. I'm glad you're here. Good morning, Farm Girl. Glad you're here. We're going to start out today with just a little bit of a note on making some changes to change our mental thinking and to change that we want and how we see our lives. See, as humans, we're naturally wired to always be on the lookout for fear or something's wrong, to keep ourselves safe, because we all want a sense of safety, obviously, in our life. I got to shut this phone off. Sorry about that. To have a sense of safety in our life. And a lot of times we aim that toward negativity and negative thoughts. Good morning, Brian. And these negative thoughts can carry on. They can happen sometimes right when you get out of bed. What do I mean by that? What I mean by that, good morning, Brian, is you want to start your day off with just at least one thing before your feet hit the ground, before you even take your blanket off, of one thing that you're looking forward to every morning right when you get up. You want to focus on that one thing. It could be a walk you might take, a cup of coffee, something that's good that's going to happen. So our goal in week 5 to craft a personal mission statement, it's going to be based around, we know, our core values, our purpose. And when we talk about purpose in life, a good purpose to have in life is to start basically, and I talk about it all the time, with gratitude. When you have micro bursts of gratitude, get sunlight, enjoy a pet, enjoy a walk, you're bringing down levels of anxiety. You're bringing down levels of things that you're going to worry about. And these micro changes in your life, they start to take effect in your mind. And then you subconsciously will start looking for more things to be grateful for. You'll start looking at things in a different light. And how that happens is it's the way that you wake up, the first thought that comes to your head. And every morning, if you could just think at least of one thing when you wake up in the morning of what you have to look forward to, that is starting your day out with gratitude. And when you do that every day, just that one thing before you get to your phone every day, then instead of looking for worry or looking for what you're going to be overwhelmed with, instead of focusing on that, you're going to start noticing that the morning brings life. That's when you hear birds. That's when animals are starting to scrowl for food. And that's when the sun comes out as well. And the sunlight gives you good energy too. It can give you dopamine if you go out and walk on it. You don't even need to walk in it. Just open a window and put your face in the sunlight. But I don't want anyone to get misconstrued that just watching videos or writing a mission statement, this one grand thing is going to change your life. It's the little things that go along with it. So when you're working and crafting your personal mission statement in life, that is envisioning how you would like to think, how you would like to be, the boundaries you would like to have in your life, but most of all, your mental thought process. Your thought process can be changed microscopically. This is proven in neuroscience. Little things are what makes the difference, not some big thing that you do. Remember a couple of weeks ago, I had a board that spiked, and I had one that just gradually went up. It was right behind me. Over time, it's the small things that you do daily that make big change into your future. So what we've talked about in week 1, that started our series, that's 12 weeks, is that we sometimes live on autopilot. And what I mean by that is that we are kind of in a wash and rinse cycle all the time. That our life could be the same thing, the same worries, the same thoughts. And we just allow them when we get out of bed to happen to us. So this is what I got to do. This is what I got to worry about. This is my life. But the thing is, you can actually chisel it out. You can carve a new life through your thought by taking advantage of journaling, taking advantage of correcting negative thoughts, negative things that you might think of, worries and stuff like that. It's what you're focusing on that's going to make the change. And when you just focus little by little every day, in the morning, like I said, you find that one thing that you're grateful for. At the end of the day, what went right, not what went wrong. What went right today? When we think about yesterday, it's gone. But what went right yesterday? What happened yesterday that went right? Good morning, Alicia. What happened yesterday that went right for you? And starting right now, what is the one thing that you're looking forward to today? And you notice sometimes you'd be like, write a gratitude list, journal about gratitude. Sometimes it's a thought. You can wake up in the morning, I need to remember to be grateful. And the one thing I'm looking forward to today is my cup of coffee. The one thing I'm looking forward to is coming home. The one thing I'm looking forward to is what I'm going to put in the crock pot for later. The one thing I'm looking forward to is I talk to my sister or my cousin, my son, my daughter every Thursday night. That's how we focus during the day, of not what we have to bear, not what we're trying to avoid. It's the things in life that we want to embrace. So when we're working on our mission statement, we want to think about, when we're writing this mission statement, the impact that our attitude is going to have on others, because part of making change in your life. Good morning. I'm so glad that you're here. Part of making a change in your life is so you can exchange that goodness with others by complimenting others. If you find yourself that you judge others, that you size them up, we naturally do that. We don't know what somebody is just by looking at them, right? But when we start expressing gratitude toward the way we think about people, expressing the small wins in our life, instead of this is just something I can do every day, I'm naturally celebrate that. Instead of just a check off, move on, going for these high standards that you think you have to chase money or you have to chase materials, or you're measuring success by what you have or how big your wallet is. That is going to do nothing but wear you into nothing. True success is a solid mindset that has gratitude and is mindful of how it's living. So let's talk about this. Let's talk about what the core values are. The core values that we talked about on week 4 were honesty, integrity, religion, not talking about other people, some rules that we have on ourselves, not just boundaries against others, but boundaries that we put on our mind. And behind what we're talking about is a gradual transition into right here, your mission statement. And the purpose, when you have purpose in life, let's talk about what the purpose is. That's a vision that we have. If we feel our purpose is going to be full of some things that we're good at, things that might help others, things that might be useful at our church, in society, on our property, at our homes, they have impact. They not only have the impact on your life and how you think, but they're going to have impact on people around you. And I always say it doesn't matter what others think, but you can at least gain a lot of respect. This is all science. So to take your time being grateful and connecting these micro dots in your head, that's micro things during the day. My day's going well. I could do without what I'm doing, but I'm going to do it, and I'm going to do it the best that I can. So it's how we're talking to ourselves. And if you find yourself talking to yourself in a way that's not along with your mission statement, then what you want to do is you're going to write that in there. You're going to try to every day for, I say 10 days right now, concentrate on the mission statement, your core values, your purpose, and your vision. And do that through self-reflection. When your alarm, are you jumping right out of bed, checking your phone, thinking about what the dread you have at work that day? And those are micro habits. And that's not your fault. It's not your fault. But what truly matters to you is survival. And sometimes our mind's going to play tricks on us. It's going to make us think that our survival is just to overcome the stress and the beating that we give ourselves of what truly matters. And we get confused and our mind might race. Taking control of how you feel about yourself and your day and your intentions in a small step way. I want you to think really hard right now, just for a moment. And I want you to think about the one thing today that you know is going to happen and you're glad that it's going to happen. And then every time you think about something today that you don't really care for happening, that might happen, I want you to replace that with the one thing that you can look forward to. You know, when I was younger, I did what I do now. I did construction. Sometimes we'd have hard days, and that hard day could be out in the snow. It could be out in some weather, out in the rain when you're doing construction. Good morning, boy. I'm glad you're in here. You do construction, I know. And you have these hard days, and sometimes it might be a double. It could be a 12, 14-hour day. That's a labor day. And one thought that I always gave to myself to get through that is, at midnight tonight, I'm in the comfort of my bed. I'm in the comfort of my home. So you have to, when you're going through hard times, think of the comfort. Think of it being resolved. And then think of what boundary you could have made to not have that repeat, right? As you know, over time, and especially my years in construction, I'm going to be 56 in a couple of weeks. So I guess that's almost 40 years that I've done it, and things have changed from electric cords being plugged in, how you climb, how scaffolds are, all these things have changed to make things better. Those are people that were using thought, taking challenges and turning them into something to figure out. If everything in life was a challenge, how do you get over that challenge? Good morning, everybody. I'm glad that you're in here. So let's talk about the required minimal willpower versus just hard change. The minimal that you can put in is one grateful thought in the morning. Giving it thought to have an actual mission statement of what you want your life to be. Part of my mission statement right now is to share my knowledge on how to be happy with people and to share my knowledge and recognize when other people are stressed, to let them know that they're not stressed. And for the next 10 years, save as much as I can to hopefully live 15 years after that. That's a 25-year plan. That's a mission statement. But I would like to enjoy more mornings. I would like to enjoy coffee, and I'd like to go to Barnes and Noble. I like to go to a bookstore. I like to do things, but we don't always get allowed that, but we really do. Because when I say that, what I mean is we need to make the time for it. Everything you think you don't have the time for, you really do. There's just some kind of fear. There's some kind of excuse of why you don't do that. I don't have time to journal. I don't have time to wake up and be grateful. I sleep till the last minute. I got in the shower and hit the cab in my driveway, and I got to get going. I got to start my day. I don't have time for all this cockadoodle bullshit. Well, when you do make time for it, you can at least make micro time, which earlier, waking up, having one thing to be grateful for, one thing to show gratitude for. And you know, when you do that, your mind reacts to repetition. So you're waking up the same way every day, doing the same things every day, but you can change the course of that if there's negativity in there. If you don't find yourself being grateful, you can't wake up, man, I got to get this extra work and job. I got to drive some Uber tonight. I need a second job to make all of this come together. You can be grateful for what you have. And then I'm going to put the work into it, and I'm going to do the math and everything for a mission statement so it's not so hard on me physically and mentally. What is it that we need? As we get older, our needs, actually, our health needs might go up, but we know more and we need a lot less of what we thought we needed as we were growing older. And the power of small conscious actions is the chisel that's going to form your new way of thinking. And you're going to do that with writing things down. You're going to do that with journaling. And you're going to guide yourself right here with more clarity. So when we're talking about today of writing your mission statement, you can write one on your phone. And if you write it down, it's going to be powerful. Don't just think it, write it down. If you write that down. So my purpose is to, and remember your purpose is going to have an impact. And what are your core values? This is your mission statement. What's your vision? Where are your strengths? Can you do yourself the favor of writing some of that down? Because you'll benefit from it. And people in your life will benefit for it. And it'll help you recognize fears that really weren't even there. I'm afraid to do this because I don't have the time. I'm not going to go and try this new church out, or I'm not going to go try this restaurant. I heard something bad. Make your decisions for yourself in life. So what does it mean to live intentionally? And that's what this 12 weeks about. What does it mean to you, the listener? What does it mean for you to live intentionally? Would that be to get up with thought that guides your life? That's what you want. Waking up with thought that guides your life, with good intentions, to put out good vibes. You're only going to get what you put out. If you're putting out negative, that's going to be your life. If you're putting out bull crap, your life's going to be bull crap. So you're going to get what you put out. Karma exists. The universe is looking for what you're putting out there, and it'll come right back to you. It'll come right back to you every time. So give yourself a life of direction with purpose that's fundamentally sound, based on gratitude and based on respect. That's what you want. What truly matters to you. What truly matters to you and your actions says everything about you in life. It really does. And people know that. So when you're waking up from autopilot, what is it that I can control in my life? What is it I can do to be a respectful person? What is it I can do which is noticed by my neighbors, my kids, and people in my life that show that I've crafted a mission, that I have a purpose, I have vision, and I have strengths? Or do you succumb to old habits of doing old things? When you're on autopilot, you're going to live all your moments, and these moments are going to create feelings on autopilot because life is happening to you. You're not controlling life. And there's some people that feel insignificant. And there's no reason for you to feel insignificant. And you know, I have these lives and I go on here to make you aware that you're not insignificant. You're a good person and you already know you better than anybody else. And you can change your thoughts microscopically by just getting out of bed, being grateful before you get out of bed. Actually, when you open your eyes, think of one thing. It doesn't have to be 3, it doesn't have to be 5. You don't have to go out of your way to work really hard. What are you grateful for that you have? And what are you grateful that's going to happen that day? If you look at the weather and see that you have 5 days of sunshine, that's something to be grateful for. And our minds are like the weather. When we know that there's clear skies, do that analogy to have a clear, grateful you woke up. That's especially when you're in your 50s, man. Alicia, I am always grateful that I wake up. And if it's going to be the last time I ever wake up in this lifetime, I would want it to intentionally be a good day, because there will come a day it'll be the last time we wake up, have the last conversation, the last time we write something, right? Good morning, Grandpa from Modesto, California at 4:20 a.m. You are up early, and I'm glad that you're in here. We were talking about creating our personal mission statement in life, being grateful, waking up being grateful, and how we're going to make this mission statement. So we talked the last 4 weeks. Week 1 was that we were living intentionally, or we were not. And when we're not living intentionally, we're living in a default where life is just happening to us and we're just a bag of reaction. This is what's happening, I take it. Or we slow it down and we take control of it. Right? So if you're on cruise control, going down the highway and you're approaching somebody and they're not going the speed you are, usually take off cruise control. Then you're going to, I like that name too. Then you're going to take control of your car. You're going to take it off of cruise control because you have to pass or you have to slow down. So think of your life. Be on cruise control with your mission statement. But there's times where you're going too fast or too slow, but you have to be mindful so you can get control of your life, your car. And it'll help you see where you are in life when you're like that. And you can really identify who you are when you start paying attention to a life that's intentional. And when we do that, it's about identifying ourselves. And what I'm talking about right now is we're just rolling into week number 2, even though today's 5. But it's all right up here. These are the things that we talked about, our core values and our purpose. And our mission statement is all going to be a declaration. Let me get over here a little bit. It's going to be really a declaration of our core values, our purpose, and our goals. And a compass to guide with clarity. With clarity. That way when you go to bed at night, you don't have a racy mind. When you're living, you don't have a racy, you're living in the moment and seeing the beauty of life. You know, the humor in life is that a lot of us don't live life because we don't know how. And I don't know how, but here's what I do know. I know that it's better when you're grateful. I know that it's better when you journal. And I know it's better when you just take the time to think about your habitual thinking. What are you thinking during the day? What are you thinking when you wake up? What's going to make the impact? What purpose are you going to have right here? What purpose are you going to have that's going to make the impact? Not on everybody else, but an impact on you that you're going to do. Like I did that, and I can celebrate this small win. It could be just a plant a 10-foot garden. Envision it, write it down, you go get it, you go get everything that you need. Journaling does help acknowledge your motives and your wins. And I pray and I try to turn everything into comedy, and that is a good way to look at it, to just have a sense of humor about life and knowing what we can change. And that's what one of the things when we were talking about boundaries is catharsis. So good things come out of everything bad. You can't have bad without knowing what good is. You can't have hot without knowing what cold is, right? These are things that we're aware of. Now, what is the opposite of the way we live? What is the opposite of the way we think? Could the opposite of some of the ways that you do things be better? And what fence or wall is keeping you from writing and crafting a personal mission statement, making it about yourself, and why did they teach that in school? So we know that change doesn't happen overnight. It unfolds through small, consistent actions, right? You learn languages gradually. You grow gradually. Your mind gets bigger gradually. Your teeth come in gradually by small, itty, micro things happening every day. So if you see a 1-year-old today and you run into him 3 years from now, he's going to have a big vocabulary, and he's not going to get all of that overnight. So your mind's not going to change overnight. His vocabulary has now changed, and he has a vocabulary now. She has a vocabulary now because they started microly every day through repetition, right? And this is one thing when you're doing some self-help and when you're thinking about the things that you have experienced in your life. I'm trying to figure out a way to say that. And there's some things that are stuck from way back ago. When we start reflecting on our past, to see where some of our fears came from, to realize they're not really ours, to see where some of our doubts come from, which might have come from other people, to start investigating some things in life that we feel might be too salty. And yes, you do gain consciousness probably at 2. Is that 2 a.m. or is that 2? Somewhere in there, we have this development that happens. And it happens in micro, small ways. So we know that nothing happens overnight. Change doesn't happen overnight. As a matter of fact, this course right here is 12 weeks on, we do this Tuesdays and Fridays for an hour to wake up and have something to listen to. But I encourage you to do some of the exercises too, to write down some of this. What is something that appeals to you? What resonates with you? So we know we wanted to an introduction to wake up out of autopilot, right? Being self-aware. And on week 3, we were doing our core values. So our core values was intentionally living with clear values to help discover your core values and connect your values directly to your decisions. And this isn't a daily check-in on that, but the daily micro exercise would be before you get out of bed, what one thing am I grateful for? How can I craft a personal mission statement? And what does that even mean? A mission statement that you craft is a planned agenda that you put into your life that works as a compass. Everything that happens around you is wind. You know, if you're wanting to go east, you can with a northwest wind, or it doesn't matter the wind. You have to know how to navigate your sails. And that's almost what a mission statement is it take us where we belong, and it takes work. But the best part is that when you start to do it, you don't feel that it'll work all the time. But what it'll do is you'll start recognizing little changes in your mood, little changes in your body where you feel good, little tickles in your brain and things that make you feel better, all through the daily small one thing I'm grateful for. Good morning, Kelly. I'm grateful that you're in here and everyone that's in here. I appreciate all of you. But when we're including gratitude, our brain's going to start release dopamine and serotonin. And then you'll subconsciously start noticing it. And this is when I talk a lot about habitual thinking. When you just start small, different ways of thinking and it stays consistent, consistency, not intensity. Just consistent every morning. This is the one thing that I'm grateful for. Consistent every day. This is the one part of my job that I like. Consistent every day. This is everything I love about the relationships that I'm in. When we're focusing on the negative, more negative is going to be recognized. When we're focusing on the positives, more positive is going to be recognized. And there's no perfect life. That's where we need to stay resilient, and we know that shit's going to happen. And you know, physically, we feed our body so many times a day. We physically exercise. We do all kinds of things away. But it takes it takes thinking to really live right. What are we doing for your mind? If it rains out, we get an umbrella. But when we're depressed, what do? We tell ourselves that this isn't where I'm at right now. I'm having a moment of depression. This is not me. I'm having some anxiety. Here's the way. And you breathe, get some breathing exercises, know how to make it go away. Breathe in for 4 seconds, out for 4 seconds. Because sometimes our emotions can take over. And one of the things that through this series I want to teach is to have your reasoning to be ahead of your emotions. When you feel like you want to flip somebody off or tell them to shut the hell up or, shame on them, just reason. And I'm glad I don't think that way. Remember, that's their problem. Don't let other people make you react. You want to have your reasoning in front of your emotions. And emotions can be counted away. Science says that an emotion only lasts 90 seconds. But when you feed that emotion, it can create rage. If you feed that, put them in the back seat. They can be, remember, Alicia, I think that one time you said they can be a passenger, but they can't drive. I like that. So the transformative power of your new habits with gratitude makes lasting change in your brain. Lasting change in your brain. And the reason it does is that your brain has reward centers, things that make us feel good. And right at the beginning of the live that I said today, one of the things that we have a wake up. When we wake up, what are we thinking? That's going to start your day. What are we thinking during the day? What are we focusing on? Where's our focus? So, core values and principles and purpose. And most importantly, is a vision, using your strengths, right? Having clarity. Have some things happen to you on purpose. Today, I am on purpose going to follow more of my mission, and I'm going to check in with myself, and I'm going to put blocks of time out for myself. So and you're going to do that through what truly matters to you, having the time. Have you ever volunteered to do something and immediately got dread? That's because you might have had your emotions before reasoning. Hey, Ray, can you help me out this Saturday with one of your trucks to move a bunch of stuff? Now, I don't get me wrong. I do things out of kindness, but I'm not going to do something to be liked. And a lot of times we find you got to really know what the difference is. You need to be spending more time for yourself, reflecting and having gratitude, taking brisk walks, reading books, feeding your mind with healthy things so you can have clarity and purpose in your life. Your purpose is not to be people pleasing, not to be people pleasing. So you want to start forming a sense of life purpose through these are my values, this is my vision, and I feel that my purpose is to be around pets, be around dogs. You might not even be in a job that you enjoy, but start distinguishing between what your purposes are and your goals. You can't live a life of fantasy. You can read fantasy books, but knowing what your goals are. Goals are things that you believe that you can do. And if you can dream it, you can do it. But a goal is written down. And when it's written down, it's a plan. And you take the steps. You're going to craft what the plan is, like a blueprint. And it starts with the foundation. The foundation is going to be a strong belief that I know I can live this way, but also recognition that it's not going to be a perfect life, that shit's going to happen. Things are going to go bad. Just a little side note, right? Just a little side note. But you also have a side piece, a cane, a carrier. It could be someone or something in your life that lifts you up. If there's someone that you'd like to be like, interview them. Ask them, how did you get here? How did that happen? If you have somebody in your life that you're tolerating, and now it's become somebody that you're used to listening to, create more feelings of pleasure and motivation by removing things out of your life that are dread. Because when you start writing down what dreads, what's dragging you down, where this is coming from, while that goes down, your feeling of accomplishment is going to go up, especially if you're a people pleaser, especially if you're spending too much time doing cockadoodle bullshit for everybody else, because they'll have a tendency to focus and live their life while you do all of their work. This happens to us at work. This happens to us in families. This happens to us in life. People will recognize what you have extra of, and they will come and ask for it. So the journey to this whole thing that I'm talking about for this next 12 weeks, if you missed weeks 1 through 5, you can hit my link tree on right here on TikTok, my link tree. It'll take you right to loaded videos. And you can watch all of these, all of the series I did. But the first step, with no overwhelming commitments or nothing, to live a better life is to have one thought. And that one thought has to be gratitude. And ask yourself that one question to yourself. Do I want to start forming a life that I'm in control of? And if that question's yes, yeah, you can. You can take control. You can take control starting right now. You don't say, I'm going to do it tomorrow, I'm going to do it after. It's just right now, what am I grateful for? What do I have? I'm going to push my worries aside. You know, you notice you've always survived. You've always made it. You've always had what you needed. And there's a lot of science. Instead of wanting more, being grateful for what you have right now with gratitude. That means what you have right now. Being grateful for that. If you have a home, if you have a car, if you have a ride, if you have one friend, if you have one place that you can go where it's quiet, if you know how to shut your phone off for a weekend or a night, if you have the bravery to face life, have a mission, shut off your phone, recognize people pleasers, and get all your validation from inside and have peace. These are the quiet people that you see. They have a brain activity that is focusing on their mission and they're constantly thinking about it. They're not going to talk much. They're just doers, right? So it all starts with just one grateful thought, you know? So a couple of things that we can do is just stay in micro connections with ourselves, micro thoughts, micro gratitude. There's a change in your life microscopically. I don't know. I go in to Barnes and Noble and I'll buy a book sometimes, but I like to go in there. There's a Starbucks in there and you can sit and read some stuff for free. That's not being a cheapskate. But if I read enough of it, if it's something that I'd like to keep, I'm going to read it. And when you do that and you read something, you can print little parts of it that you like out of the book, just and read it, you know, during the day. If there's a good thought that you have or something that inspires you, just to watch it. See, these are the little micro things, and then give it some thought. Shut your phone off. Don't get interruption. You need to have uninterrupted time in your life every day besides your sleep. And this will help you. Oh God, Alicia, that just brought me there. Just reading that, the smell of books and coffee too. And there's science behind that, you know, that it takes you because there's an idea where you can smell places that you walk to where you can smell the lilacs and you know what time of year you're going to smell them from May to the middle of June. And that's something that we can look forward to. That's creating life, right? So that would be intentionally going somewhere that we're familiar with, where we feel comfortable, where we know that we can be interrupted. And you leave this in the car. When you're in there, it's okay. 35, 40 minutes, these fucking things are going to, if anything's going to trip your mind up, it's paying too much attention to that. So 90 minutes a day for yourself. 90 minutes. A half hour in the morning, maybe half hour in the middle of the afternoon, half hour at night. 90 minutes isn't as much. You'll end up meeting your best friend. There's somebody inside you, which is the best that you can be, that wants routine, that wants you to change some of your micro habits. And that is the gift of the universe and our consciousness and subconscious. Now, to make the subconscious change and some of your habitual thoughts change, you're going to just every day, one thing to be grateful for, every day paying attention to, is this what I want? Is this right for me? When somebody cuts you off or does this and that, man, I still blow up, explode, and things happen in life where I might feel overwhelmed. You just gotta relax. And I get better all the time. I do, and I feel it. I feel it when I wake up. And this helps me. And this helps me. So writing our personal mission statement, right? A mission statement is something that you're going to have intention on what you're going to do and what parts of the vision can you apply into your life. So when we're talking about vision and strengths, these are something that you're already doing, the strengths. You know, I'm healthy. I'm a vegetarian, not me. I'm a meat eater, but I'm healthy. We're talking in generalization. What are your strengths in life? I do go walking every day. I do take time off. I do journal. These are some of my strengths. Thank you so much, Kelly. These are my strengths that I have. This is what I do. So you're guiding yourself when you know what some of your strengths are, and through self-reflection, or what are some of my ugly parts? What am I doing that's wrong? Well, I can't stand my neighbor down the street. And every time he drives by, it just makes me feel horrible. I don't like my boss or I don't like my job. I can't stand traffic. That gives me a little story. I worked with somebody um, who had to come in at 9 a.m. Fucking 9 o'clock in the morning. And every day they were late. Every damn day. And when I say every day, they were late Monday through Friday, every day. No kids, single, nice car, lived 15 minutes from work, but every freaking day came in at 10 after 9. And every day said, traffic. You know, so that's the reason. That's something to get used to. Not maybe I should leave 15 minutes earlier. How do you overcome a problem if you're late every day for something? Would it possibly mean that we might need to shift our morning routine to make it on time? If you're getting there at 9, 10 every day, you're 15, instead of leaving at 5 till 9 at the last minute. And I've seen her in traffic too. She also always puts her makeup on while she's driving. These are some people that are priority. So go to bed earlier, get up earlier, and be on time. And what does that tell you about that person? You know, when I say make time for yourself, you can't make time for yourself on other people's time. But you can't let other people take away from your time for yourself. A job's a job. These are the hours. Time management. There you go, right there. That might be one of your strengths. So you don't want to be uninterrupted. So this is, I don't know if you ever saw my video, but I had one about cell phones. And when this has a lot of energy and it does a lot of things, and when it needs to be charged, I got to plug it in, right? So we're the opposite of that, because when we need to get charged, we have to unplug ourselves. That includes sleep. That includes personal time while we're awake for ourselves without our phone, without the interruptions. Giving ourselves the benefit of time. And when you're in there and you think one thing, when you get that time of what I am grateful for right now, one thing every day, 3 times a day, 4 days, your subconscious, you're going to start noticing birds chirping. You're going to notice birds flying, a turtle on the ground. You're going to notice life, butterflies. This is giving your life and your mind a new direction, a new way of thinking. Instead of dread, but when you open your eyes before you even take your blanket off, I'm grateful that I woke up and I'm looking forward to my cup of coffee. I can't wait to be off work today. Giving yourself something to look forward to. Don't think of the dread. I got to get out of bed. I got to go deal with Aunt Sally and fucking damn, got to watch my whiny grandkid. Some of that might be true. But, you know, with the grandkid, you can have ice cream with, look forward to that. Aunt Sally, you know, just be grateful she's there. We have to have gratitude even for some of the people that don't bring us so much grace, because that's unconditional love. But it's, you can't people please. So there's this fine line there in life of difference of people pleasing. So me, when I was growing up, I had such low self-esteem. It was fucking horrible. It lasted clear into my 40s. And it had to do with how the what I heard from authority growing up, and that was my problem. Now I know if someone says something about me, that's their problem, right? But where it changed was when I started to learn about boundaries, where I started to realize that I can put effort into my mind and the way I think. When I discovered journaling, and when I have to get to, I got to. But I started to turn some of my visions into clear thoughts and being better and kinder to myself. And I found myself people pleasing and breaking my back to be accepted through duty and doing things, that being a yes man. And there were times where some of it was kindness, but most of the time I was just using it to be accepted. It's the last thing I'll do now. So to write up a part of a mission statement is to understand that people are going to ask of your time. And you're going to, within reason, is that what I want to benefit to? Is this a charity that I want to belong to? Is this something that's going to affect my daily happiness, this commitment? Have commitments that you benefit, that give you personal growth, that give you personal strength. These are the things in your life that you want to benefit. Personal growth, personal strength, emotional resilience through it, to be resilient, emotional, and realize that there's a race. And the race there is that we're always running is the race of reasoning before reaction. When you're living in autopilot, which is at a default, life's happening to you. When you're living intentionally with a mission statement, you're living life. So you're just turning it around. Think of the things in your life right now that you have to turn around while writing your mission statement. So we have purpose, ownership, and designing your life on purpose and not by accident. If you're not doing these things, a lot of accidental things happen to yourself. Like, I wish I wouldn't have been in this situation. I don't know why I said I'd do that at the last minute. I don't know why some people's emergencies are my chores, right? So practice your gratitude. Start writing down how you envision the best life possible and write down some of the things that you wish you could change about yourself. And some of the things that you feel that you're missing. And one of the things that I find on TikTok, especially, which I feel is a good platform, is people that are afraid to do a live. Everybody has a story. To just go on and live and start talking and interact. I'm more of a talker, I know, than an interactor because I have an agenda. And this agenda is to carry this on, to put it out there. I don't do it for anything. It makes me happy and it forces me to be here twice a week to talk about it, get ready of it. And I read this and I practice it and it works. When I practice it, I'm really happy. But sometimes I'm listening to a good song, get cut off in traffic, and I'll cut somebody out. So micro moments of gratitude, just little things like, God, I'm glad this is happening. Did you ever see something you just couldn't believe it? Like you're walking down the street and you see a street performer or someone's playing a guitar. I know it's winter time, but if you go down where I live, they got Alexandria Old Town or parts of New York, when you go into Times Square or on the Strip at Vegas, you have these human performers, people that are out there performing for your entertainment. And the wise people stop by and they take the time to appreciate their art or what they're doing. And going back to TikTok, and I get some messages about it. People are afraid to do lives because you get a comment or one little comment about your hair or this or that. I get them and things happen, but we can't focus on that because that's like being complimented 100 times in one day and focusing on the one insult, right? What about all the good stuff? So if you think your life is bad, what about all the things that went right? When you come home at the end of the day, don't tell whoever you're with everything that went wrong. Tell them what went right today. My train was on time. When I went down 14th Street, every light was green. I got one of my little goals at work done. I have a new plan to make my work life easier. I'm going to start leaving my job right at 5 o'clock because I'm only being paid for 8 hours. I'm going to stop being, this is one of the things, mental health in the area where I live, or people are on salaries. They are here in fucking the DMV, right? They're on salaries. And it takes them 2 hours to get to work, 2 hours to get home. That's 4 hours. And they go to a 12-hour job. And they get a salary. So what are you really making when you break that down? And what kind of company and people are going to take advantage of you, like all of them these fucking days, and they're overcharging? This isn't a political show. So what strengthens positive neural pathways? You know what I'm talking about? That's where these neural pathways are in our head. That it connects different parts of our brain for happiness, repetitiveness, and stuff like that. It's a practice that strengthens, it is associated with positive thinking and making it easier to default to optimistic perspectives. And it happens, like I said, over time. You're born not talking. 4 years later, you're probably talking a lot of words. From 4 to 5, a lot more words. 5 to 6, a lot more words. See, but you can talk and communicate. How can you start communicating with yourself? How can you start changing some of your neural things? I'll say it again. Wake up, one positive thought. When you get home, what went right? Shut your phone off sometimes. Make the time for yourself. Read a book. Think of things that resonate with you. When you resonate with, man, that sounds good. When I listen to you, it really helps me. And I'm glad it does. But put that into action. Take 30 minutes today and relax. Have a cup of tea, have a cup of coffee, have an iced coffee, whatever you like, a glass of wine. Enjoy and bring in life. Recognize and live your life intentionally. Enjoy your favorite snack. Enjoy your favorite person. Enjoy your quiet time. Enjoy the time with a pet. Go to a museum. Go look and read something about history. Take yourself away from your everyday routine and honestly think about your purpose, your impact, your strengths, and what you're good at, your vision. And when you start doing that and make a day a week, you start guiding yourself with clarity and taking the time. I have overwhelming meetings today that would once probably be overwhelming, but they're not. I get a lot done during my day because I can control it. I'm going to control myself. I don't have time for uh, cockadoodle bullshit, but I intentionally put up with it because you have to at work. Sometimes we see people that they don't know any better, and you can't beat yourself up because somebody says something or messed up your life or said something about you or said something about your job. You can't beat yourself up. That's that person's problem. And when you start getting the perspective that only you are in control of your emotions, it gets easier to deal with it. That's what resilience really is. That's what that really means, to be resilient to something, because I have the ammunition to deal with it. It's like the rain, you got an umbrella. The snow, you got a shovel. And you can apply that to different emotions. When somebody insults you, you have common sense because you love yourself. When someone yells at you, they're angry, not because of what you did, because it's something with them that makes them angry. So getting just 5 to 10 minutes to yourself at first, microscopically, if you get it in the sunlight, even better, you can start living a good life. And you probably already are living a good life if you're alive, because waking up is key to life. We know that, right? And there's people who wake up that are never going to think about these things. They're never going to think about what we are sometimes until it's too late. Because time's going to go. It goes by fast. And it doesn't go by as fast when you're living intentionally. And let me explain that to you. There's a lot of saying is when people get older, that time goes by quicker. And then if you remember when you're younger, it always seemed like the summers lasted forever, things last forever. Because when you're younger, you're more mindful into the moment, you're curious. And if you keep yourself in the moment and curious and have things to look forward to, that will help slow time. Because you're taking, instead of letting life happen to you, like, wow, I was in an awesome mood when I came in here. Now I'm in a super awesome mood. Thank you. I do like that, Grandpa. Woo doggy. That's a good one. And I appreciate that. But when we were younger, we lived life. And then life started to happen to us, right? The kids, divorces, there things. And I'll tell you something, and this is the truth. And I don't share much about myself on this, but I have a place that I go to on the bay, and I don't. I wish I could go there more, but when I do, I shut off my phone, and even though I only stay there for a day or two, when I go home, that 36 or 38 hours later, I really feel like I've been gone a week, like it lasted forever, because I'm indulging in something that I appreciate. And there's nothing better for you to indulge in than your own life. and you, and giving yourself the benefit of favors that only you can do for yourself. For you to realize that you can craft a personal mission statement, that you can really live by your principles, your core values, have a purpose, an impact. Let me tell you, man, it's going to impact, and it's going to impact you really good and hard. I wish everybody a good day. And guess what? We finished up week 5 of week 12. I'm going to be one more minute. So I'm just going to tell you what we've talked about the 5 weeks. And Brian can tell you about, you can link if you missed any of these and want to see them. We do record them all. So on Tuesday, intentional goals from purpose to practice. We're going to take our mission statement that we wrote this week, its purpose, and how we're going to start practicing it. Thank you, Farm Girl, Alicia, Brian, everybody that was in here today, all the new people. Everybody have a great, blessed day. And remember, if it's raining up here, get an umbrella. It's going to be okay. It'll clear away. You'll see blue skies again. Have a good day, everybody. Thanks for